Welcome back everyone, I'm Danny the Dinosaur Drawer, and today I'm going to be showing you all how to draw the level 40 Pachyceratops from Jurassic World the Game. And the equipment I'm going to be using today is a Graph Gear 500 mechanical pencil, but any pencil will work, and an eraser, and obviously some paper. So get out your materials and we will dive right into the tutorial. Alright, so our Pachyceratops is going to be facing to the left, which means our head is going to be right about here. And for this stage, draw very lightly with your pencil, so it's not hard to erase. So the horn sticking out right about there. It's got a really weird head. A lot of spikes coming out. And yeah, be sure to be able to fit your entire dinosaur onto the page. So make it the right size. Because sometimes it's annoying when your drawing goes off the page. Okay, so let's put in the limbs, which are very short, close to the ground. So yeah, let's go ahead and put the ground in as well. Now the back limbs are going to be a little bit longer, and the hips are higher up than the shoulders. And then it's going to have a short, stubby tail. So it's mostly like the ceratops part. There's not very much of the pachy part, except for the head. And it's got a bunch of plates on the back. So I realize this is somewhat of a sloppy outline, but it's gonna do. The proportions are pretty much correct. And now for the next stage, we'll just be, continuing to make this look more like a real dinosaur with our pencils. And then I'm going to switch over to pen to finish it off. So be sure to get your pen ready. So it's got its main horn right here. And I believe this is a cross between Pachycephalosaurus and Styracosaurus, but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure that that's correct. And we got a few more horns coming out of the dome here, and two little ones down here. Okay, so it's going to be very hard to explain how this head works, because like most of it's covered by this dome, which comes from the Pachycephalosaurus genes. It's got a beak, which is quite hidden. Then it's got a weird nose right about here. I'll put the bottom jaw in. And the neck. And the eyes, like, I can't even see them. They're really hidden. Mostly by a shadow, though. So let's put the eyes in right about here. Pretty weird, huh? And then it's got a bunch of horns coming out of the cheek, and then they continue up and start coming out of the crest there. Okay, so let me get my eraser out and erase some of this outline that we put in, because I'm going to be changing a few things. And yeah, this thing is very colorful. It's got a lot of stripes, so we might think about doing some of that later. And yeah, the forehead is just peppered with these little miniature spikes, which are green colored. Now the real big spikes really start right about here, and they get gradually bigger and longer until they get like monstrously sized up about here. And then we're going to see a little bit of the other side of the crest. And you can go ahead and put the spikes in there. I'm being a little bit sloppy, but that's because I know I'm going to be doing pen later. But if you're not doing pen later, then don't be sloppy. Draw with care. Okay, before we continue any further with the back, I want to get the front limbs finished. And these are actually going to be moved back a tiny bit. So I hope you guys are okay with that. Yes, I know my proportions were wrong for once. Okay, so I'm going to have this front limb. Put the elbow in. Don't make it too skinny. This is a chubby dinosaur. Very stocky. Then we're going to have its toes. Then it has like 3 spikes coming out of the back of the wrist, I guess. And then we're going to see the other limb poking out here. Remember, this is sort of like an above angle, slightly. So it's not like we're seeing it completely from the side. Alright, so let's put in the belly, which will hang pretty low. Then we're going to have the back thigh. Make the thigh nice and thick. It's supporting a lot of weight there. So it's going to be very muscular. Let's again have a stocky, trunk-like back leg here. And I might have made it a little bit too long because it gets to the ground a little bit too early, so I'm just going to erase really quick. Put the knee a little bit higher. Then put the ankle right about there. So the feet line up with the ground. And these also have a few spikes coming out, which is kind of weird, but kind of cool at the same time. Yeah, that's possible. And let's put in these huge plates. I mean, this thing is so armored. I wonder what the stats are on this herbivore. They're probably pretty good, because it's a really fancy looking dinosaur. Okay, so the tail is also covered with these plates. And these plates are peppered with tiny little green spikes. But they're not so tiny at the very top. At the very top, it's got a few substantial spikes. These fade off into little spikes by the time they get to the tail. Alright guys, so I think the pencil portion of this drawing is pretty much complete. Just putting some of these stripes in on the crest. And it's also got some like bumps right here. But yeah, if you guys have a pen around, be sure to get it out. I'm going to be using my Arteza pens, which are 0.4. Yeah, let's start off with the first horn. Let's put a few lines in like so to show the grain. Now this part shouldn't be too hard because we're basically tracing. Alright, so instead of just doing a straight line down, I want to like make these a little bit, well, we want to make them look like they're actually inside, like stuck into the crest. So we can't just make a straight line, you got to make a little bit of a semicircle there, and then draw your spike. And this pen is running out of ink, so I'm going to switch out to another one. Yeah, so make them very cone-like. And I do realize I'm not exactly following what I put in with pencil. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, so we'll do the same for the other side. And yeah, here it gets pretty complicated because there's so many spikes at the top. Yeah. I think that's good enough. Alright, so here we want to do a little bit of shading. So I'm just going to be doing some hatch strokes. I might do some cross hatching. But this will make the whole crest look a little bit more 3D. That looks pretty cool. Okay, so the crest is kind of weird here. It's hard to explain, but it sort of splits off into two different directions. And the spikes continue down onto the face, and then fade off right about there. So yeah, the crest sort of connects with the jaws here in a weird way, but then it continues here to make the dome. So yeah, really creative on Ludia's part. The designers of the dinosaur did a pretty good, very interesting job, I should say. Okay, so here we're going to have a bunch of scales, more like little studs there. And be sure to include those. And I'm going to make a quick outline of these stripes, in case you guys want to color this in, which I would recommend. Most of the time when you color something in, it looks better than if you hadn't colored it in. So let's continue these little tents across the hillside. That's what they look like to me. Okay, and we're going to have a few lines here to show the shape of the dome. Very complicated, I know. Got so many lines going on. Okay, so let's put in the beak, the Styracosaurus part. It's going to have a weird nose or nostril. A defined jawline. This dinosaur has been chewing a lot of gum. And yeah, let's put in the eye, which is right about here. And this little edge here is going to have a little bit of shading. So yeah, just do what I'm doing. Also, let's put a little bit of shading here. On the bottom jaw. Okay, so let's move on to the body, which is frankly the easy part, even though it's a lot larger. But I think I'm going to do the plates first to get those out of the way. It looks sort of like the roof of the Sydney Opera House in Australia. Or one could say it looks like an armadillo. Comment below, guys, what you think it looks like. Okay, so the plates are going to end right about there. And the tail is going to poke out a little further. So as I said, there are some substantial sized spikes at the very top here. I'd say about 1 or 2 per plate. And these fade off. And then go ahead and put a bunch of these little like pine trees. Alright, so if you want to bring your plates to another level, we can add some shading in. I'm going to do it, and I would recommend you guys do it as well. This is also going to make them look a little bit thicker. So we're basically just tracing our original line. Nothing too difficult. Now that I'm looking at it, like this whole crest and dome and like head is pretty much the size of the body. It's crazy. Let's continue on with the neck. Okay, so let's put in some round shoulders here. Put in the arm, then the forearm. we're gonna have 2 toes showing. I can't decide if this is the toe or the toenail. Maybe both in one. Might have a little bit of a toe there. And then the claw. Okay, so this one opposite is going to have a little bit of shading. So I'll do some hatching. And make the belly kind of wrinkly here. Just to give the skin some more texture. It's important to add wrinkles. I sometimes imagine like dinosaurs had skin similar to elephants, except more scaly. Okay, let me switch out pens once more. Let's move on to the leg here. And I just noticed it's got some little faint plates across the quads there. Also put some more wrinkles in. And then the knee, the calf, the ankle. Sorry guys if I'm drawing a little bit fast, but yeah, I want to keep the tutorial kind of short. And be sure to pause whenever you need to. I do that all the time when watching like Beanie Draws or some other artists doing tutorials. I'll add some shading here. I might do some more work with my Sharpie just to quicken things up a bit. So with the tail we can continue with the wrinkles like so. And yeah, as I said, I'm gonna get out my Sharpie and let that do some of the hard work for me. I don't normally use a Sharpie, so yeah, I guess first time for everything. Well, I shouldn't say I don't normally use a Sharpie, because I do, but I don't normally like use it in a tutorial. Ah, none of these have any ink. Okay guys, it's time to add the last final touches to our drawing. The last final touches are going to be adding in the ground. Let's go ahead and do that. And then adding a few stripes along the body. There's also a very cool pattern on top of the plates here. So you might want to put that in as well. And this is very much darker. So if you have your Sharpie or with you or whatever, I'd recommend you color it in. Yeah, these stripes are sort of at an angle. If you guys want to find out like the colors of these stripes and everything, then I'd recommend you just look up the reference image for Pachyceratops. And also, if you have a lot of time in your hands, you can add a bunch of scales to make your drawing look even more detailed than it already is. Okay, so the final touch-up is just going to be signing our names in the corner here. Always the best part of a drawing. And yeah, be sure to clean up with your eraser if you want to. I might just leave mine like that because I sometimes like the look of pencil mixed with pen. And yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're almost at 20,000. I'm so excited. And wow, it's crazy to say that number, 20,000. That's a lot of people. Wow. Yeah, and be sure to check out my vlog channel, Danny Adventure Vlogs, in case you guys want to, follow along with my life. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.